Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Oh my god, the sun. I don't know if that's gonna work actually. Let's see. Oh, this is not it. Okay, I need to reassess. Okay, this is way better. Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. I wasn't planning to film this video actually. I had originally planned to film another video, but I just didn't do a great job at prepping for it, so I still need to prep and then I can film it. But yesterday I went to a local bookstore that is near me and they were having a 40% off used books and I had to go, so I went with Ivana and we got some books. I did some damage, and I also realized that there's some other books that I got within the past 2 or 3 months that I just never talked about, and I wanted to share them in this video as well. So we could just do a big old what are the books that I've recently acquired over the past 2 to 3 months, I think. So yeah, I'm going to just dive in to all these books. I have this stack from the sale that I went to, and then I have several different stacks around me from different times that I picked these up. I'm just gonna pick whatever stack and we'll talk about them. So the first stack I'm going to talk about is actually from a library sale that my local library was holding, and I have never gone to a library sale. I've been wanting to, and I actually had this sale in my brain, which was mistake number one. I should have put it in a calendar, but I wanted to go to it and then I completely forgot about it. But Sarah Marie Reads on Instagram, she posted a story letting people know that she went to the sale and what her haul was, and then I was like, no, I missed it, I totally didn't get to go, I forgot. And she let me know that they were actually having the sale for 2 days, so I got to go on Sunday and I was able to get 3 books. The first book that I ended up grabbing is Woman at Point Zero by Nawal saadawi, and look at this cover. I thought it was so cool. I hope you can see it. Can't tell if there's a glare. Oh, there's definitely a glare from, okay, I'll hold it right here. I don't know, I really love the cover, and then I remember this is one of the books that Kat had talked about in one of her videos, and when we were buddy reading Minor Details, she also mentioned that there was some similarities to this book when it comes to the repetition. So I'm just glad that I picked this up, and I don't actually know when this was published, but okay, it's translated from Arabic. Okay, I think it was published originally in 1975, and then in 1983 is when it was translated to English. So let me read the back because it is short, but it says, from her prison cell, Firdaus, sentenced to die for having killed a pimp in a Cairo street, tells of her life from village childhood to city prostitute, society's retribution for her act of defiance, death. She welcomes as the only way she can finally be free. Damn. Sounds like it'll be really heavy, but I'm very excited to have this, and it's so tiny. How many pages is this? It's 108. Whoa. Okay, so that was the first book that I picked up at the library sale. And then the second book that I picked up is The Swimmers by otsuka. I haven't read any otsuka and I really want to. So I don't really know what this is about. I think it's a group of swimmers that go to a pool, and I don't know if they interact with each other or if we just kind of learn a little bit about each of the characters. I am so sorry, I'm literally talking out of my butt. I don't know if I got any of that right, but that's what I think it's about. There was one day I was at the library and I had picked this up and I was just reading the first few pages and it sounded really, really interesting. I was enjoying the writing. So when I saw it at the library sale, I definitely picked it up because I don't think I mentioned it, but all these books were $1. So $3 total for the 3 books I got. That was a steal. And then the final book that I ended up getting at the library sale is Very Cold People by Sarah Manguso, and I don't know anything about this book. I have never read anything by this author, but I've just seen this cover around. I did notice that Jubilee on the back and Catherine Lacey. Those are the 2 that I oh, Lauren Croft, but also I haven't read anything by any of these authors except Catherine Lacey. I did read Pew. Didn't love Pew, but I'm very curious about this one. And the reason why I picked this up is because it takes place in Massachusetts. So I don't know. I thought it would be interesting to read, and I don't actually know anything else about this book. The very first quote on the top says, "My parents didn't belong in Waitsfield, but they moved here anyway. For Ruthie, the frozen town of Waitsfield, Massachusetts is all she's ever known. Once home to the country's oldest and most illustrious families, the Cabots, the Lowells, the first best people. By the tail end of the 20th century, it is an unforgiving place awash with secrets." I'm in. I want to know. I want to know what this is about. At once an ungilded portrait of girlhood at the crossroads of history and social class, as well as a vital confrontation with an all-American whiteness, where the ice of emotional restraint meets the embers of smoldering rage. Very Cold People is a haunted jewel of a novel from one of our most virtuistic literary writers. Cool. I'm sold. I'm in. Okay, so that's what I ended up getting at the library sale. And next, I'm going to jump into 2 books that I actually came across when I was looking for gifts for someone else, and I saw these 2 and obviously I had to get them. So I got both of these used, and the very first one I got is My Brother by Jamaica Kincaid. I believe this is Kincaid's memoir. Okay, Kincaid's haunting memoir of her brother's death from AIDS recounts his troubled life as a Rastafarian involved in the drug culture. So this one's gonna be sad for sure. And I just love a memoir. I haven't read any Kincaid, and this is gonna be my second Kincaid, but now I also have another Kincaid coming up, so I just need to read Kincaid. I have Lucy on my winter TBR, so I'm hoping to get to that one soon, especially because it takes place, I think, in January. I think that's the month that the very first chapter starts in, so I want to read that one soon. So yeah, I ended up getting My Brother, and it was used, so I don't know, whenever it's used and it's like an author that I'm interested in, I feel like I need to grab it. And the second book I got was another Kincaid, and it's A Small Place. Okay, so it is about tourism, specifically in Antigua. So I remember Ivana reading this and she really loved it, so I'm excited to give this one a read, and it's a little tiny, so very excited for this one. So yeah, that is officially my 3rd Kincaid. I have no excuse, I need to read Kincaid, so I have to get on it. But let's see, what other order do I want to do this in? Okay, I'll do books that were gifted to me. So the very first book, and I'm so excited, it was part of my family. We had a little secret Santa, and I got The Houseguest by Amparo, dávila, and I am so excited. I have been trying to get my hands on this book for such a long time, and it was so hard to find. I remember going to the bookstore, looking for it specifically. They said they had one in store. Me and a worker from the bookstore joined forces to try and find this book, and we could not find it, so I think it had sold. They only had 1 copy, so it makes sense that it was just probably already sold. But I'm so excited. Like, look how beautiful that cover is, first of all. I love it. And this is a short story collection. They're supposed to be like scary, thrillery short stories, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm just like so excited. Okay, it says, like those of Kafka, Poe, and Shirley Jackson, Amparo Davila's stories are terrifying, mesmerizing, and expertly crafted. You'll finish each one gasping for air. That's all I need. That's all I want. She was born in Mexico in 1928. I think it was written in 2009, and then it was translated in 2018. I'm so excited. And another book that was gifted to me by Ivana was Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery, and she just raved about this. She loved it so much, and I think this is gonna be so perfect when I'm just like in the mood for something cozy and sweet. I'm so happy that she gave this to me because I don't typically read classics, so I'm excited to give this one a try, and I think that it's just gonna be really enjoyable. So that's Anne of Green Gables. And the next book was gifted to me by Riverhead, and it's an arc of A Map of Future Ruins by Lauren Markham. And this is a memoir, but it's also her taking a look at migration and borders, taking a look at when that became a crime to migrate. This one on the back, it says, in 2021, Lauren Markham went to Greece in search of her own Greek heritage and to cover the aftermath of a fire that burned down the largest refugee camp in Europe. Almost no one had wanted the camp, not activists, not the country's growing neo-fascist movement, not even the government. But almost immediately, on scant evidence, 6 young Afghan refugees were arrested for the crime. Markham soon saw that she was tracing a broader narrative, rooted not only in centuries of global history, but also in myth. A mesmerizing, trailblazing synthesis of reporting, history, memoir, and essay. A Map of Future Ruins helps us see that the stories we tell about migration don't just explain what happened. They are oracles. They predict the future. So yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you to Riverhead for sending this. When I opened it up, I was so hyped. The next stack that I have is from a sale that a local bookstore near me was having. They were having 20% off all their books, and obviously I had to go and support and get some books. The very first book that I picked up was Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason, and I've already read this book and I loved it. It's a 5-star read for me. I wanted to get a physical copy because I wanted to highlight and annotate, and I've just been itching for a reread, so I thought I would get it. I also love the blue and green edition of this. I know that there's the pink and orange one, but this one's my favorite, so I had to get it. This one was on the top of my mind when I was going to the sale. So in this book, we are following Martha, and she's always felt like something was off with her and she didn't know what, and she gets her diagnosis, which we don't actually know. It's just called X in the book, so we don't actually know what she's diagnosed with, and it's her coming to terms with that and feeling like how did no one know? How did no one tell her? How has she gone this long without this diagnosis? So it was just so good, and the writing of it definitely gave me Fleabag vibes. I loved this book so much, so I'm excited that I have a physical copy and now I can write it up and annotate the heck out of it. The next book that I ended up getting is Happening by Annie Ernaux. I read The Possession last year, and I don't have any... That's not true. I have an Annie Ernaux literally right there. I have Getting Lost by Annie Ernaux, so I should read this one too. But I wanted to read The Happening. Nope, it's not The Happening, it's Happening. I wanted to get a copy of Happening. I've heard that this is just so excellent and really heavy. It's about Annie Ernaux going through an abortion, and I think we take a look back at what happened when she got the abortion. I already know that I'm gonna love the writing. I'm just so excited to have another Ernaux and give it a little read, and I think it's gonna be really heavy. I think it's gonna be tough, but I'm sure it's going to be excellent. The next and final book that I ended up getting at the sale is Mother in the Dark by Kayla. Maiuri? I actually didn't look this up. I should have. I think it's Maiuri. I have just been seeing this one around, and I've heard really good things from people that I've seen talk about it. But another reason why I picked it up is because it takes place in Boston. So Anna's childhood growing up in an Italian-American family in working class Boston is simple but comfortable, filled with homemade meals and front porch gatherings in a close-knit neighborhood. She and her sister are devoted to their mother, orbiting her like the sun, trying to keep up with her loving but mercurial nature. When their father gets a new job outside the city, the family is tossed unceremoniously into a middle-class suburban existence. Anna's mother is unmoored, and a darkness lurking inside her ignites. Her daughters, isolated and trapped with her in their new house, do everything they can to keep her from unraveling. Alternating between Anna's childhood and her 20s, when she receives a shattering call about her mother that threatens to blow up her precariously constructed life in New York. Mother in the Dark asks whether we can ever return home when the idea of home is fraught. This is a story about sisterhood, the complications of class, and the chains of inheritance between mothers and daughters that reveals the fragile horrors of domestic life and a young woman consumed by her dark past. So yeah, I don't know. That sounds really good to me, and I'm excited to dive in. All right, we're almost done. We are on the last and final stack, the stack that I just acquired yesterday. So we got there bright and early, right when the store opened, so that we can get first dibs on whatever was there. At first, I didn't think I was going to find anything, but then slowly but surely, my stack started to get bigger and bigger, which I feel like always seems to happen to me. I'm just going to grab from the top here. One of the books that I picked up is The Women of Brewster Place by Gloria and Naylor, and as you can see, it is very beat up. There is just tape holding this corner together. The pages are like yellowed. It was funny because Ivana was like, oh, just think of all the hands that have touched that book. And I was like, I don't think I want to think about that. No, I don't like that. But then she was like, think about how many people read and loved this story, and that worked better for me. I haven't read anything by Gloria Naylor, which brings me to another book that I don't think I've ever mentioned, but I did get my hands on a used copy of Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. So now I have 2 of Gloria Naylor's books. I'm really excited for Mama Day because I know that this is more like magical realism fantasy, so I'm just excited to give this one a read and see. I've heard really great things about this one. And then for The Women of Brewster Place, it is a short story collection, but the short stories are like connected to each other, so I think that's going to be really interesting to read. This one was $3.50, so I think it came out to like $2, so I couldn't pass this one up. And then another book that I got used is Ali Smith's Autumn. This one's for you, Kat. All that you've talked about this book has made me want to pick it up, so I figured I would get it used. I haven't read any Ali Smith. I'm definitely intimidated by Ali Smith, mainly because I just don't know what the writing's going to be like. But I mean, I guess I could say that for any author that I've never read a book by. But I wanted to give this one a read, and I think it starts with autumn. I think it's autumn, winter, spring, and summer. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. So I figured I would pick up autumn, give it a try. I don't even know if like each of the books are connected in any way or if they're all completely different, but just part of this like seasonal quartet. But I am very curious to learn and find out. I remember hearing Kat talk about it and it wasn't what I was expecting. So I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was mainly expecting Ali Smith to just talk about autumn, to be honest, but let me read the back. So it says, autumn, season of mist and mellow fruitlessness. Two old friends, Daniel, a centenarian, and Elizabeth, born in 1984, look to both the future and the past as the United Kingdom stands divided by a historic once-in-a-generation summer. Love is won, love is lost. Hope is hand in hand with hopelessness. The seasons roll around as ever. A luminous meditation on the meaning of richness and harvest and worth. Autumn is the first installment of Ali Smith's seasonal quartet, and it casts an eye over our own time. Who are we? What are we made of? Shakespearean, I don't know how to say this, Spirit, so sorry. Keatsian, oh my god, am I okay? I can't read this. Keatsian melancholy. The sheer, bright energy of 1960s pop art. Wide-ranging in timescale and light-footed through histories, Autumn is an unforgettable story about aging and time and love and stories themselves. That sounds lovely. So yeah, I'm really excited to give this one a read. Okay, so up next is Chouette by Claire Oshetsky. This is a book that I remember seeing the cover of, and I have a weird thing with owls where they really freak me out. So I feel like I probably saw this cover and was like, I'm all set, I'm good. Nope, I don't want this. But something about owls, like if I just woke up in the middle of the night and there was, I guess there'd be other reasons to be concerned on why there's an owl in my room. But I don't know, just like, I don't know why that's like a fear that I have, but I think there was a movie I watched, a scary movie, where there was an owl. I don't know what it was. If I remember the movie, I will include a screenshot of it here, but I feel like that's when it started. I feel like that's when my fear started. But I've been seeing Claire's other book that's coming out, the new one. Oh, what is it called? Poor Dear. That's what it is. And that one's being published this year. And I remember seeing Kate Will Read on Instagram, her review of Poor Dear, and I think she also mentioned that she really loved this book in that review. I hope I'm not getting that mixed up. Once I saw this, it's a used copy, so I figured why not give it a try and see. The back of it sounds so interesting. I will read it for you because I had no idea what this book was about, and I read the back and was like, I'm either gonna love this or I'm not gonna vibe with it. I don't know yet, but I'm leaning towards I think I'm gonna vibe with it. So on the back it says, Tiny is pregnant. Her husband is delighted. You think this baby is going to be like you, but it's not like you at all, she warns him. This baby is an owl baby. When Chouette is born, small and broken-winged, Tiny works around the clock to meet her daughter's needs. Left on her own care for a child who seems more predatory bird than baby, Tiny is unwavering in her loving commitment. When she discovers that her husband is on an obsessive and increasingly dangerous quest to find a cure for their daughter, Tiny must decide whether Chouette should be raised to fit in or to be herself, and will learn what it truly means to be a mother. Arresting and darkly funny, Chouette is a brilliant exploration of ambition, sacrifice, perceptions of ability, and the ferocity of motherly love. Like, I think I might love that. I think it'll be a fun, interesting read, and kind of heartwarming too. I don't know. The next book I'm so excited about, and I didn't even know that it came out in paperback yet, but it's Four Treasures of the Sky by Jenny Ting Queen Chung. I remember being at the library and reading the very first page and immediately being like, I want to read this. So let me read it for you. So the very first line is, when I am kidnapped, it does not happen in an alleyway. It does not happen in the middle of the night. It does not happen when I'm alone. That was the first line. And that alone like pulled me right in. So it's about Dayu, who is kidnapped, and she's kidnapped from China and brought to America. So Dayu must relinquish the home and future she imagined for herself. Over the years that follow, she is forced to keep reinventing herself to survive. From a calligraphy school to a San Francisco brothel to a shop tucked in the Idaho mountains, we follow Dayu on a desperate quest to outrun the tragedy that chases her. As anti-Chinese sentiment sweeps across the country in a wave of unimaginable violence, Dayu must draw on each of the selves she has been, including the one she wants to leave behind, in order to finally claim her own name and story. But yeah, I'm just so excited that I got my hands on this, and it's paperback, which is amazing. Okay, so up next is a book that I feel like I've seen, but I don't actually know too much about, and I've never read anything by this author, and it's Small Worlds by Laura Zigman. And I just read, oh, Mona Watt's on the back. I like that I said Mona Watt's on the back. I don't love Mona Watt's writing. Just doesn't work for me. But I read the synopsis of it, and it sounded really interesting and kind of fun, so I wanted to pick it up. Let me read the synopsis for you. A year after her divorce, Joyce is settling into being single again. She likes her job archiving family photos and videos, and she's developed a secret comforting hobby, trolling the neighborhood social networking site, Small Worlds, for posts that help solve life's easiest problems. When her older sister, Lydia, also divorced, calls to tell her she's moving back east from Los Angeles after almost 30 years away, Joyce invites Lydia to move into her Cambridge apartment, temporarily just until she finds a place of her own. But their unlikely cohabitation, not helped by annoying new neighbors upstairs, turns out to be the post-divorce rebound relationship Joyce hadn't planned on. Instead of forging the bond she had always dreamed of having with Lydia, their relationship frays, and they rarely discuss the loss of their sister Eleanor, who was significantly disabled and died when she was only 10 years old. When new revelations from their family's history come to light, will those secrets further split them apart or course correct their connection for the future? Written with wry humor and keen sensitivity, Small World is a powerful novel of sisterhood and hope, a reminder that sometimes you have to look back in order to move ahead. Okay, so I know I said this sounds fun, but I apparently had only finished reading the very first paragraph, because as we keep reading, it gets a little bit darker. So that still sounds really good. I am very much so intrigued by it. And another reason why I wanted to pick it up is because it takes place in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So once I saw that as well, I was like, okay, I want to read it. Let's dive into the last two books, and these ones are not used. I picked one up because I just love this author, so I wanted to get it, and the other one was on sale, so it wasn't used, but it was on sale, and that's The Arsonist City by Hala Alyan, and this is the same author that wrote Salt Houses, and I haven't read Salt Houses. I want to read that one as well, but I feel like I also remember seeing really good reviews on The Arsonist City, so I had to pick it up, and I am very excited to give this a read. Hala Alyan is an award-winning author and poet, and I believe she's also Palestinian. Let me double check. Okay, yes. So she is a Palestinian-American writer, poet, and clinical psychologist who specializes in trauma, addiction, and cross-cultural behavior. Her writing covers aspects of identity and the effects of displacement, particularly within the Palestinian diaspora. So when I saw that this one was on sale, I was super excited to pick this one up. Let me read the back. The Nasir family, a Syrian mother, a Lebanese father, and 3 American children, is spread across the globe. Still, they've always had their ancestral home in Beirut, but following his father's recent death, Idris, the family's new patriarch, has decided to sell. They convene in Beirut, united against Idris in a fight for the house. They all have secrets, lost loves, bitter jealousies, abandoned passions, deep-set shame. That distance has helped smother. But in a city smoldering with a legacy of war, the changing landscape of refugees, religious tension, and political protests, their secrets ignite, imperiling the fragile ties that hold this family together. Teeming with wisdom, warmth, and characters born of remarkable human insight, award-winning author Hala Alyan shows us again that fiction is often the best filter for the real world around us. This sounds so good. I am very excited to pick this one up and give it a read, and I'm hoping that after I finish this one, I can pick up Salt Houses as well. So yeah, the last and final book that I got, I didn't have the intention of getting it, but as we were just kind of browsing around, I saw it and was like, I feel like I should own it because I just love this author so much. And it's All My Puny Sorrows by Miriam Taves. I've read Women Talking, I've read Fight Night. I loved both, and I've heard such great things about All My Puny Sorrows, so I'm excited to own it. But yeah, I started reading the very first page, and, well, the first few pages, because I actually ended up falling in a little bit because it was so good. I don't know that I'll read it anytime soon because I have my winter TBR stack that I really want to get through, but this one will definitely be in the next coming months because I am so excited to read another Taves. Let me read the synopsis. So, Elf is a world-renowned pianist, glamorous, wealthy, and happily married. Her sister Yoli is recently divorced, broke with 2 teenagers growing out of her control. And yet, despite the different paths their lives have taken, the sisters remained fiercely close. A bond forged in a Mennonite childhood spent under the shadow of their father's depression. But the family curse has never lifted for Elf, and when she attempts suicide just before an international tour, Yoli must try to hold together her fracturing family while facing a profound question. What do you do for a loved one who truly wants to die? That's the first time I'm reading the synopsis. I had no idea what this is about. Oof. Yeah, this one's gonna be a toughie, but I love her writing so much. Very excited to have this and to own it and to annotate it because I know I'm just gonna love it. And I think, let's see. Yes, I do have, so I have Fight Night and I have Women Talking. So it was only right that I had a copy of all my Peony Stars as well. Look at that. Slowly building my Taves collection. So yeah, that is the last and final book that I have picked up within the last few months. I'm trying to use my library a lot more, so I've been a little more strict with not buying as many books. Sometimes I go a little wild. I don't think I'll be buying books anytime soon. I think I am all set for now. I need to move these because that stack was making me nervous. It was gonna like tip over. All right, that is a wrap. Those are all the books that I have gotten in the past few months. Let me know if there's any books that I mentioned that you have read and loved or read and hated. You can let me know that as well. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in the next one. Bye.